Hello, welcome back. I'm Miniature Mike, and today we're going to do a character review and comparison for Darth Maul. So in the game, there's only 4 Darth Mauls. It's not as many as you'd think, but they're all pretty cool in their own ways. Well, most of them. um, and some of the older ones hold up really nice. But especially across the board, Darth Maul's got some really kind of specific avenues that he goes down, and he's a lot of fun. So let's jump right into it. Let's go to the first one. So this is the original Clone Strike Darth Maul. And so we have, for hit points, we got 140, good amount of hit points, solid defense, attack, good damage, lots of really nice abilities. So deadly attack, melee, rolling cleave, and triple. If I read it correctly, I believe rolling cleave adds to triple, so you could potentially do quadruple if you get that to work properly, which is very powerful. And then his force power is very simple and straightforward. He can just use Sith Rage 3 times. Um, and so that's a very, very awesome character. So when you take a look at it overall, his hit points for a 55, so he's kind of expensive for all this stuff, but he definitely makes that, he has a lot of good stuff going for him. But Darth Mauls, you have solid hit points. Your defense for a melee person is a little above average. Your range survivability and your melee survivability, not that great. I mean, you don't have anything really helping you for range except for a high defense, and then for melee, it's just kind of you're depending on using your offense to kind of destroy your enemy fast enough before you take too much damage. So that being said, it's not too bad. And yeah, Darth Mauls tend to have a lot of hit points, which definitely help him absorb some damage, so I'll give him that. His attack's really nice, but his maximum damage is crazy. So that especially comes down to being able to have triple, potentially doing rolling cleave, having Sith Rage. This guy, Darth Mauls in general, they're just damage machines, just absolute glass cannons, as I would say. So his special abilities, really great. I love the combinations. He's just all about, I like how his deadly attack thrown in there too, which is nice. Early characters, Clone Strike characters are actually notorious for being able to kind of hold up sometimes. But just early characters, sometimes they're pretty bare on special abilities, but those are nice. His force powers, though, and you'll see in general, Darth Mauls, they don't exactly have the biggest repertoire of force powers. They're kind of just Sith Rage and maybe one other thing, and not too much force. So it's kind of meh, not my favorite. Like, don't get me wrong, Sith Rage works great with what he does, but force powers is not really something you're gonna be banking on. Combos, fantastic, 5. You know, being able to do all your damage with Rage and Cleave and even Deadly Attack, it just flows so well. Not exactly the most versatile, and because of that, he's just really a glass cannon. That's what he is. Like, in this case, it's actually not too bad because he does have solid hit points, so he's not exactly too glass. He can withstand some hits, but he's just an absolute machine of damage. Lots of fun. So overall, his aggregate score was about 3.5. That's good. That is a good rating, above average, solid, good rating. Like he said, he has some things that hold him back. He's kind of high-ish cost, not very much options for force powers, and he doesn't have a lot of defense. He's just all offense, go go go, which is nice. And if you want to pick this guy up, he's a little pricey. He's about $45 approximately on eBay. So definitely a really fun mini if you can get your hands on it. And he's good. He's really solid. So definitely, if you see 3.4, don't think that's bad. I'd say anything that 2 range or below, not so awesome. But this guy, definitely a solid option for sure. Moving on to the next one. So this guy's from the Universe set, 2 sets later. A really fun, interesting version of him. Kind of a different take. So as you can see here, he has the same stats, but he has a lot of versatility compared to the other one. At least a lot more versatility. So he's got Accelerate. He can move very fast. He can charge. He's got Cleave, which is kind of a reminiscent of Rolling Cleave we saw before. But in this case, he just has double melee, and he still retains Deadly Attack. So in terms of his like raw damage output, it's still solid, but not quite as powerful as it was before. You got Lightsaber Assault. You got Sith Rage. You cannot use Assault though with Charging Assault, so you kind of have to gauge it. I'd probably just end up using Charging Assault, honestly, instead of Lightsaber, but it depends on the situation, of course. A really nice character. His hit points, really good. The defense is above average. For someone that's this expensive, his melee survivability, his range survivability is a little better because he's got that speed. He can get around and he can hit. He can accelerate and he can get up to someone quickly, and he can start knocking out ranged characters very well, which is very, very, very effective. Melee survivability, though, a little bit better because if he wants, he can kind of pick and choose his fights a little bit better, but still, it's not like he has anything going for him. His attack is solid. It's a solid attack. It's a solid max damage. His max damage isn't as awesome as the other characters. When you're getting to 57, a lot of people can do some damage at this level, but he just has limited double attack and Sith Rage, so you're looking at kind of like 60 damage maximum. Well, not maximum, but kind of it would depend on 60 damage. Of course, that can improve with deadly attack and maybe even cleave and so forth. So he's got opportunity to make it a little bit better, so that's why he's a little above average. Special abilities are awesome. I think this whole combination is really, he's much more versatile. I think I gave him a 3. He's really more versatile than that. I love how his mobility factor is fantastic, and he can still do a lot of damage, which is nice. Although you do sacrifice that triple attack, which is something to kind of be aware of. His combos, they do still flow together really well, especially when you mix things like charging assault and being able to use cleave, and then also being able to use like lightsaber assault if you want to move up to somebody as well. So I think his combos, they don't really sync as powerfully as other Darth Mauls do, but it's still pretty nice. And he's more versatile. If I was to redo this, actually, I'd make this... Oops, I already skipped one. I'd probably change this to a 4 and this one to like a 3.5. I think he is more versatile than that. And this guy, clearly, he's just a hit-and-run character. A really, really nice character. I've seen people say, you know, mix him with... oh, shoot, I'm already blinking on the name. Or General Worm Loathsome. And if you kind of mix it together right, you can give him twin attack. That's awesome. In general, I'll say as a note, with all of these Darth Mauls, mixing them with General Worm Loathsome to give him twin attack is one of the best things you can possibly do. Because if you do that combination, whether it's this one, the Champions of the Force one, the Clone Strike Darth Maul, you're going to have Darth Maul just uber loaded with attacks. And so basically what I'd say is if you can mix him in a squad with Loathsome from Galaxy at War, it's one of the best things you can do for Darth Maul, just as a note. Okay, really solid. Let's move on to the next one. I like this character. Even though he's a good, I still, something about the original Darth Maul I like a little bit more. He's just kind of more direct. I really like just kind of more straightforward what he's meant to do, but this is a really fun combo. Really good character. This one, so he's, even though he's a 3/7, Darth Maul Champion of the Sith is kind of edging into the great territory. He has some weaknesses, but he's kind of, in my opinion, he is the ultimate Darth Maul in the entire game. And he has the coolest pose, too, to be honest with you. So what you have here is you have better hit points than you had before. A little worse defense, but a little worse attack, too. This guy really is the definition of a glass cannon because that's slightly lower defense, but high hit points. Again, he's not exactly glass because he can take a lot of damage, but he will take the damage. So special abilities, a little less insane as the other ones. Instead, you're just looking at quadruple, melee, and deadly. Basically, you're kind of sacrificing rolling cleave or cleave for quadruple, which is nice to actually have the attack as opposed to having it conditional. And then his force powers, the cool thing with him is he does have options, although at the end of the day, you're still limited. There are ways to get around that, obviously, with other characters and squads, but it's just something to consider. I love he has rage. Lightsaber Deflect is nice to give a little bit of that extra range defense, although remember, if you do use it, you will be sacrificing some of your damage capability. Assault is nice. Leap can be kind of fun if you want to maneuver a little bit easier around to get to a specific target. So I like how he's much more versatile with his force powers. Really nice. However, that Force 3 is limiting. When we take a look at him overall, his hit points are awesome. I'd say 4.5. I think there's only one other character in this region that has more hit points than he does. So I kind of kept him at that region on purpose, but still, like, fantastic hit points. His defense, though, a little below average, so you can remember. Range survivability is decent because of deflect and super high hit points. Melee survivability, a little below average. Your defense is a little lower, so you're going to be taking damage a little bit quicker, unfortunately. Attack is a little below average. A lot of characters at 53, they're going to be having 14, 15 attack, so that is something to consider. It's something that balances them out, is that attack is a little bit lower, unfortunately. But his max damage is amazing. You know, when you have quad, you do 20 damage. You do have Sith Rage. You could do, you know, potentially 130 damage, 120 damage. My bad. Plus, you have Deadly Attack mixed in there for good measure. Um, really nice. Really powerful. So I'm a big fan. However, that lower attack, you may not hit every time, which is something I have seen, and you got to be careful. So if you can find ways to maybe improve the attack a little bit, and especially give him Twin with Worm Loathsome, you're going to be really good. Force power is a little above average. Great combination, great variety, and useful ones, but it is limited. His combination, fantastic. Like I said before, being able to use Rage and Quad and have Deadly mixed in, you're going to do so much damage, and he's one of the most damaged people you can get, honestly. And he's also more versatile because he has the force powers that make him more versatile, and his hit points can make him stay alive a little bit longer. I do like him. However, I do think the other one, this guy is more versatile, so that's my mistake when it comes to putting this together. In retrospect, he's more versatile because he got the speed, in my opinion. However, this one I'd say is probably a little less versatile because still at the end of the day, he's really meant to do one thing, but he does have a little bit of extra stuff there to help him out. Last Darth Maul. I'm not a fan of this one. I don't know if too many people in the community are. He looks cool. He's a cool idea how he's in Sith. However, he's got some problems. So he costs 43. He's the cheapest one by far. But he has only 110 hit points, so that's a lot less. His defense is actually pretty comparable. Attack is pretty low it's pretty low for melee in general. 20 damage. His special abilities, you're looking at triple attack. Instead of Deadly, they gave him Vapid, which is good. You know, it's a little bit better, of course. Won't say no to that. His force powers, though, kind of make me frustrated because he has Rage, which is a hallmark of any Darth Maul. He has Riposte, which is actually pretty cool to be able to hit back. That can really up the amount of attacks and damage you're going to do. And Night Speed's pretty fun too, but he only has Force 2, and to me that is insane. So I think he's the only character, I believe, who has Force 2 and has powers. Normally, if you have like Force 1, Force 2, you have no powers. Usually once you get Force 3 and beyond, you actually have some printed powers here. But he's the only character with Force 2, no renewal, that has these powers. Something I hate about this guy is like, if you're not using him with like, Darth City's hologram or somebody else, yikes, your force powers are looking yikes there. You're so limited that like you have one turn of force power. It's like you use Sith Rage and then someone attacks you, you counterattack with their post, you're done. So I think that's horrible in my opinion. But of course, if you wanna improve that, there are ways you have to do it, but then you have to kind of compensate for his defects. And he's also in Sith, so the way he works is a little more different in that team. So there are other interesting Sith you compare him with for sure. Other interesting squads, I guess. I mean, like I can see him with the Darth Sidious's in Sith, the hologram, and Master Sidious or whatever. That's kind of where I see him being used. So taking a look at his hit points, they're average for 43. Those are average hit points for a melee character. His defense is average. His range survivability is not good because the defense, he has nothing to help him with range, other than just having 20 defense and maybe being able to use Night Speed to get around quick. But it's not great. His melee survivability, it's really not great. And the reason I say that is because his hit points is so low. His defense is so it's easy to hit him. Melee characters tend to have high attack, so you'll hit him easy. And then his force powers are going to run out instantly, so he's not going to be able to do too much there. So. And there's no defensive ones anywhere, so not a fan. Riposte is kind of that saving grace a little bit. It'll help him attack back, but you're going to not be able to use it much. His max damage, again, like other Darth Mauls, Darth Maul is amazing at max damage because he's got triple. Vapid is nice, and then he has, again, Rage and Riposte. So, again, in one kind of like turn, you could do 4 attacks, but 11 attack kind of sucks. His attack, like I said, is way below. It's bad. Having 11 attack on a melee piece is bad. It's straight up bad. So unfortunately, he has the max damage. He still has good force powers. Like I will definitely take these force powers for a melee person. They're awesome. But combining his max damage and his bad attack is it's no bueno. You can do the damage, but it's not going to hit, and that holds him back a lot. So not fun. His combos are good, so like being able to use these things in concert with each other is good. Like all the other Darth Mauls, that's kind of what they're meant to be. That they're glass cannons. They do the damage. They do it well. He doesn't do it as well though. That's why it's a 4. His force power is 1.5. I do like the selection of powers, but just by itself, having force 2 is just so crippling that I have to dock him a lot. And his versatility, not super versatile. However, I do like that he has night speed. I like that he has a Vapid instead. But being able to have night speed is cool. That he can use that additional movement to maybe get around a little quicker, and maybe take down targets like range targets you ordinarily would get hit by. But it's not good though. And again, he's a glass cannon, and this guy goes for about $40. So he's again Darth Maul in general, kind of pricey, but they're worth it. They are fun, even though this Darth Maul is not very good in the game. He's definitely a fun collectible figure as well. And I'd love to hear in comments. Please comment any sets or combos you've put together to make this Darth Maul really effective. But in general, I'm not impressed by this one at all. I'm really kind of turned off, unfortunately, but that's kind of me. So let's take a look at kind of how these all aggregate together. So we have all our Darth Maul, on Speeder, Champion of the Sith, and then Sith Apprentice. So overall, our best one definitely is, in my opinion, Champion of the Sith. And I think Darth Maul and Speeder are pretty solid for their own specific reasons. Darth Maul, I'd say these guys are technically a little bit more versatile, in my opinion. Although I put them at as 2. I don't know. Oof. Darth Maul and Speeder is the most versatile, so I think 3.5 and 3 should change, in my opinion, but it's what it is. So Darth Mauls, they tend to have a lot of hit points, not Apprentice. That's a kind of a hallmark. The defense tends to be kind of average. Range survivability, melee survivability, you're not hanging your hat on those. The attack depends on which Darth Maul you use, but sometimes the attack can be really good, sometimes it can be below average. But what we really like to see here is, the combination of special abilities, and especially that maximum damage being a 5. Like, if you can get the hits to hit, this guy can, obliterate somebody. But that's the key, is try and actually get that to work is tricky. Force power is very limited, but they're useful. And the combinations are very good. So the combo, I should say, of kind of the how I might need to change this in the future. But what I really mean is like how well do all your powers kind of sync together for really maximum effect. Darth Mauls do that very well. They're not quite as versatile because they really are those glass cannons at the end of the day. But in general, I think Darth Maul, Champion of the Sith, is really just kind of your best option. If you want to use a Darth Maul, I'd use him with General Worm Loathsome, and then some other supporting pieces, and you will do so many attacks you can't even count. And there's other great pieces to put him with too, for sure, like Darth Sidious, the Separatist version that can use Pawn of the Dark Side. That's really good. So definitely Darth Maul, Champion of Sith, I think is clear-cut the best one. But I also like these. If you want kind of a little bit of a throwback, Darth Maul is in practice very similar to Champion of the Sith. Maybe it's a little bit less one-dimensional in some ways. Even though I didn't say him that way, like the more I look at it, he's more flexible in terms of special abilities, but he's more flexible in terms of force powers. And those force powers that definitely help a lot with versatility. But I think Darth Maul, a lot of fun. I think he's really good, really fun player to mix in, and you can put him with good combinations too. Darth Maul and Speeder, I haven't really used him much, to be honest with you, but I do like the aspect that he can kind of hit and run really well. And then Darth Maul, Sith Apprentice, I'm not impressed. He's kind of cool. I like the idea, but unfortunately, you have to use a lot of other characters to kind of fix his deficiencies. And like I said, you have the good abilities, you have the max damage, but good luck hitting the damage. I'm not a fan of it. So, anyways, that's Darth Maul. Pretty quick video this time, since Darth Maul is there's not too much of them. I think my next video I'm either going to do with Chewbacca or Boba Fett. Really, really fun shooters. So I'm not sure which one I'll do, but we'll see. But please comment, please subscribe, please like. And yeah, let me know which other characters or types of characters you'd like me to see review. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about Darth Maul in general. Which one's your favorite one? What kind of sets what kind of combinations do you like? Squads? And just in general, what do you think about these Darth Mauls? I'd love to hear if you agree or disagree, which would be awesome. So anyways, until next time, I will see you later.